So growing the business is the easy part. The hard part is, are you willing to do what it takes to grow that business? So for example, you have to become a different kind of leader. One thing I've found is that when a business is small, the owner of the business, the founder of the business, the entrepreneur, we are very comfortable being the general. We're in charge of everything. In fact, sometimes we're the ones who say, if you want something to be done well, do it yourself. We take pride in doing everything ourselves. We know the names of all our customers. We control how money comes in, how money goes out. Sometimes we're even physically involved in making the product. We take great pride in making the product, selling the product, and managing the business. But you remain small. The day you decide you want to grow, you personally, you have to change. You have to become a different person. You have to move from somebody who is comfortable doing everything by himself or herself to somebody who can work in a team, to somebody who is comfortable having people who know better than you in certain areas. Right now, as a one-man or one-woman business, you know some level of accounting, you know you're good with sales, you know a couple of things about producing your product. But then when you are growing by size, you now need to bring in people who are specialists in their areas, and you have to trust them to do their job, and you have to guide them and be a leader. And it can be very uncomfortable, particularly if you're somebody who has grown used to doing things by yourself. It gets to a point you don't trust that people are capable enough to do things as well as you can do them. So when you start that journey, you're quick to just micromanage people, look over their shoulders, or just hijack the work and take it over from them because you are not comfortable with the speed at which they are doing it, with the quality with which they are doing it, with the process with which they are doing it. You just jump right in and take it over. Remember, if you are not growing, the business will not grow because you are the limiting factor. You are the leader in the business. So you too have to transform. If you don't transform, this growth thing cannot happen. If you don't transform into a leader that can assemble and work with a team, that business will not grow. You will only grow it up to a certain level when you start to notice the cracks and the inefficiencies and the problems that you're not comfortable with. That's your old instinct to come in and take over. And then you just go ahead and ask all of them to go to hell and you take over the business and you run it by yourself again. What have you done? You've gone back to the old days. And for some people, they stay there. If you want to stay small, no problem. It's your choice. But don't go about saying that you want to grow, but you cannot grow. No. No. You can grow. I've shown you how. The question is, are you willing to do what it takes to actually make that growth happen? Because you, as the owner of the business, you are a limiting factor, you are a constraint, you are a bottleneck on the growth of the business, particularly when it comes to growing by size. Many business owners can handle growth by sales. You started that business. In fact, by my reckoning, it's very likely you are the best salesman in your company right now. You started a business from scratch when it was nothing. You built it from scratch. I had no doubt in my mind that you may be able to pull off growth by sales on your own without needing too much help from anybody. Where the challenge will happen is when growth by size comes in. When you find out that you cannot be in 2 locations at once, you cannot be in 3 locations at once, you cannot operate all those equipments by yourself, you will need people. This is a point where some people turn around and just forget about the dream of growing because it is at this point they realize the sacrifice they will have to make. It's at this point that they realize the kind of transformation they have to make personally to grow that business. So some people just forget the growth dream and just go back to their old form. If you can, this is the test part, at least your first major test, growth by size. If you can handle growth by size, I can more or less say with some level of confidence that you have become a different kind of leader and you are now ready for scale. Because the size will expand you. That's where the shock comes from. It will shock you when the growth by size happens. But if you can manage growth by size, growth by scale is just about fine-tuning and making sure that things are getting better and things are not falling through the cracks. But from my experience, many people cannot cross this because they don't want to change. They don't want to lose that control of being the master of everything in the business, having their eyes on all the balls, knowing all the customers, knowing who the suppliers are and what is happening here, seeing everything under my eyes, under my nose. The moment I open a second or third branch, it means I have to trust somebody. But based on my experience, based on things that happened to me in the past, I have trust issues. And because I have trust issues, I cannot overcome growth by size. Because growth by size means you have to acknowledge that you cannot do it all alone, right? So very important point. If you're interested in learning more about the topics I offer when it comes to starting, building and growing a business, this is your opportunity to join my community. It's known as the BMG. I provide extensive courses on different topics and challenges that afflict business owners, from how to optimize your profits, how to manage costs, how to boost your sales, how to develop processes, how to scale your business. There's a whole lot that I can teach you. If you want to go deeper into my content, this is your chance. Go to the link on your screen right now, jointhebmg.com.